to our Ayurveda talk. I am Marie, an Ayurvedic health practitioner, and we're going to talk tonight a little bit about what happens when you have a hoarse voice or you're losing your voice. I want to kind of give you what the approach of Western medicine is and then show you how Ayurveda deals with it. So in general, the Western approach is usually pain medication. So pain relievers such as ibuprofen or like Tylenol, anything to reduce inflammation and the sore throat pain that can come with that. Now, mind you, that is a temporary fix. Also, medicated lozenges and sprays are oftentimes recommended, and they will have a little antiseptic property to them. They help moisten the throat and reduce symptoms. But remember, sometimes that can actually make it worse. So we have to be careful. Also, voice lubricants, and those reduce vocal irritation and they clear the throat. You'll find a lot of people who have to use their voice often, like people who sing or have to get up and speak in front of large groups. They will have all of these things in their back pocket that they're doing to deal with their throat. Lots of different throat lubricants that are voice lubricants that are used, and a lot of them have steroids. So steroids, there can be issues with steroids, but it will reduce vocal cord swelling. And the only thing though, you guys, it's a temporary fix. It's a temporary fix. So reflux medication. So those of you who have had GERD, that medication is also used as a lubricant. And then laryngitis could be an end result of the hoarseness in the throat. And then that's when antibiotics might get recommended. Okay, so Western approach also includes you got to rest your voice. You got to limit talking. It's an overuse injury most of the time, unless you've had trauma. You got to hydrate. Now, we live here up in the mountains. It's high desert in the mountains where we are. And then if you're in the mountains, up in the Sierras, it's dry, it's harsh, and that strains the throat. I would highly recommend that you get a humidifier going. Now, if it's wintertime, in cooler temperatures, you're going to have warm, moist, hydrate as far as a humidifier. And then if it's summertime, it's going to be cool, moist, cool, moist. So you switch it. You want to make sure that you're going to soothe, not irritate further. And you also want to avoid things that will irritate the throat and the voice further. So no smoking, no vaping, and no alcohol. I would say even staying away from really acidic foods too, that can kind of dry things out. So stay away from the astringent type of food. So no caffeine. That dries us out. Okay, now what does Ayurveda do? Well, Ayurveda always wants to get to the root cause. When you lose a voice or you have struggling with speaking or singing or whatever it is, it's caused by sometimes a sore throat can cause the voice being lost or hoarseness, a cough, overuse of the voice, like I said, a dry climate, and also if you are moving into the later stages of life, that is considered the Vata stage of life, and Vata is ether and air. Vata gets dry. What happens if you're out in a windstorm? Especially where we live, where the wind comes in and it just goes crazy and it just makes you feel chapped. So the wind and the dryness of air, that will also aggravate. Eating the wrong foods. What are they? Like I said, caffeine, alcohol, dairy, yogurt, cheese, ice cream, fermented foods. Also, eating cold foods is going to cause further irritation, and that includes cold drinks. All of these are going to contribute to a nervous system imbalance. But in general, a hoarse voice or loss of voice is a vata imbalance. It's already considered a nervous system issue. It is a nervous system imbalance, a vata imbalance. Too much heat causing dryness also can cause it. So that would be pitta. Pitta is mostly heat, mostly fire. And so you have too much heat, you get too close to a fire, it's going to dry you out. That can irritate the throat. Blocked energy and stagnation, which would be a kapha issue. So too much earth and water, too much heaviness, too much denseness, literally blocks things from being able to flow. And that can also cause irritation in the throat. And excess weight, that's also a kapha issue. Or staying up too late at night and having too much fatigue and exhaustion and trauma. Those are all the things that Ayurveda looks at. Ayurveda wants to get to the root cause. Now, if you had a trauma, you have to basically rejuvenate. And I am really trying to help people understand that it takes a while for the body to heal and recover. If you look at just how long it takes for tissues to completely be regenerated, so let's say we're talking about your skin. The skin is about 30 days. That's just your skin. All your tissues in general take weeks to months to regenerate. That means that if you're really trying to help a certain part of your body regenerate, you have to give it at least that much time and maintain those treatments, maintain those practices that are going to help support you getting better. So you want to give it a few months. Like, that's the thing we don't do here in the West. We want a quick fix. Ayurveda is not quick fix. It's slow, but it works. You will heal. It's working with the rhythms of nature. And the rhythm of nature is how everything forms. You cannot push that. It's happening naturally. Okay, general symptoms. If it's vata, it's going to be dryness, harshness, unsteady, thorny voice. Relief will come from oil, warm foods, and liquids, and also nasya treatment, which is the nose treatment. We're going to talk about that. Pitta, which is mostly fire, a little bit of water. The things that cause it that are a pitta cause: burning sensation, dryness in the palate and the throat, and then inability to speak. What helps it? Nasya. Again, nose therapy. I do it every day, almost pretty much every day. Kapha, earth and water. When you have that as the root cause of your voice and throat hoarseness, loss of voice, it is what happens is the throat gets coated and there might be excess mucus. The voice starts to slow down. It gets husky, almost rattly, and obstructed. You need to like clear your throat all the time. So if you're constantly like you have post-nasal drip going on, that's kapha. Okay, now a tridoshic imbalance means that all three doshas are involved, or at least two, and those symptoms will be including all like multiple symptoms. So you won't be able to narrow it down to, oh, it's a vata cause or it's a pitta cause. It might be multiple. That means that it's a little more complicated issue. It's when you're dealing with more than one dosha, like more than just vata, more than just pitta, then that means it is multi-layered issue. It will take a little more time to heal. Okay, now there are other things that cause loss of voice and hoarseness. Tuberculosis is one of those things. It's contagious, by the way, and it usually affects the lungs. It spreads from coughing. And in Ayurveda, it's considered a tridoshic imbalance, and it will definitely impact your voice and the hoarseness. Being overweight, I covered that briefly, and that is a kapha, and it will cause difficulty in speaking and hoarseness. You got to lose weight and you got to remove the obstructions. It's the only way. Loss of voice can also be due to sore throat from colds and sickness, irritation, also present from inflammation. And, you know, in the wintertime, a lot of people will get an irritated throat because if you have forced air as your heat in your house, that is going to irritate. So you've got to get a humidifier. You've got to keep your humidifier clean, by the way. All right, what are the Ayurveda remedies that they look at? Well, ghee, and we're going to use the ghee in the Nasya treatment, or sesame oil, warm, lemon, lime, pipali, black salt, amalaki, and eating warm and hot foods, not hot as in spicy, because that could irritate it too. Unless you have obstruction, then you could do spicy. So if you're kapha, you could do spicy. You want to have foods that are thin, and like barley, rice, wheat, depending upon your dose or strength. External therapies will be including heat, humidity, massage, aromatherapy, sprinkling like spritzing, baths, and something that is practiced in India and also in Asia, bloodletting. We don't do that here, but that is one remedy. Gargling with a cup of hot water, not hot burning. You want to be able to handle it with a half a teaspoon of turmeric and a half a teaspoon of salt. And you do that. And especially when you're sick, very, very effective. Drinking golden turmeric milk. Now, it is milk. You stay away from dairy, but this is an actual formulation. And do not get this formulation from the store. Okay, it's processed. You want to make your own. So you get a cup of hot boiled milk, not overboiled, with a half a teaspoon of turmeric. You add 2 parts ginger, 2 parts cinnamon, 3 parts licorice, and you drink it 3 times a day. Very effective, and it'll help your sleep. Wonderful. It tastes delicious, by the way. Okay, now, what are some breathing exercises you could do? Humming. What does humming do? It literally vibrates. It'll vibrate and release any kind of blockage and stagnation. It'll help clear the area. Now, with humming, you keep your mouth shut. You do not strain your voice further. So it's and it's a deep sound. Okay, Nasya treatment is the nasal treatment. I, for myself, use ghee, and I just take a little container, I put some ghee in it, and then I take the little container, I put it in a separate bowl that has boiling water in it, and I let it melt naturally. You never microwave. Then I take a little dropper and I squeeze it in there, and then I do 6 to 8 drops in one nostril and 6 to 8 drops in the other nostril, and I do it every day. There are some recommendations. By the way, Nasya is going to heal so many things. Stiff neck, head, your arteries in the neck. It's going to help the throat, the jaw, inflammation of the mucous membranes. It is going to help with runny nose and stuffy nose, sneezing, postnasal drip. It's great if you have tonsillitis. Great for your eyes, your vision, eyelid disorders. Great for migraines, disorders of the neck and the shoulders, ears, throat, mouth, head, cranium, and scapula. Really? We should all be doing it. Okay, helps with loose teeth, facial paralysis, convulsions, goiter, pain, tingling sensations, tumors, hoarse voice, like I said, and speech disorders, all nervous system, vata imbalances. All of them, it helps all of them. Great for kapha stagnation, which is going to cause stiffness, numbness, heaviness. So it clears that as well. Also pacifies pitta, fire element, and that's going to help with internal bleeding like nosebleeds and other pitta head and neck problems like headaches and migraines. Wow, Nasya is amazing. If you're not sure, I do have a lot of videos on Nasya, so I will try to remember to post a link here so you have that. When you do that, though, you want to do it daily. and you will apply typically in the morning. And there's certain oils for different body types. So please reach out to me so you know you're doing the right one. If you are Vata and Pitta, you could do ghee. If you are Kapha, you need a different kind of Nasya oil. All right, do not do Nasya when you are thirsty, after a meal, or if you're fasting, before you bathe or after bathing. If you have ringing in the ears, also during pregnancy, just the last few months, during menstruation, after an asthma attack, or if you're having difficulty breathing when you have a cold or a cough. Do not do Nasya after you do oleation. So that means the lubricating of the oils on the body. After you do any kind of purge, not after any sexual intercourse, or if you've had too much water to drink or alcohol. You don't do Nasya on sunless days. So not like today, we have had a sunless day. And if you have anger, grief, or fatigue, you need to be very careful of Nasya. There's reasons for this. We should probably talk about it. But if you are also suppressing urges, you don't want to do Nasya. Okay. So there are other things that you have to do first before you can do Nasya. Okay, not acceptable for elderly or children under the age of 7. Elderly means over 80. Okay, now this is what Nasya is great for: hoarse voice. So this is a talk that is supposed to help you understand what is the root cause. Ayurveda wants you to know, because that's where you have to target. That's what you need to do. You got to look at those foods that are making it worse. You got to look at your lifestyle that's making it worse. And we have to stop doing those things. Stop causing the further imbalance. That's the gist. That's the gist of everything. Whatever you're doing, do the opposite.